Good morning once again. Last time, what we did was to learn how to construct the statement of cash flows. Okay, we prepared a template for that. So this was the template where we classified the changes in the accounts into operating, investing, financing. And we said that the sum of all the cash flows from operating, investing, and financing should be equal to the difference to the change in your cash. Here, there was a decrease in cash of 70,000, and we were able to trace that. The 70,000 came from an increase in operating activities, a decrease in investing, 30, and an increase in financing. All in all, we have 70. And then the good thing about this template is that you can now use the template to craft our statement of cash flows. Exactly what we did in the template, it's what will appear here in the statement of cash flows. Okay, so we learned some rules about determining whether the change in a particular account is a source of cash and a use of cash. So we said that if it's an asset, any increase in asset is deemed as a use of cash. And then from there, you'll be able to trace the other rules. So a decrease in cash means a source of cash. On the other hand, an increase in liabilities and equities means a source of cash. Okay. All right. So let's have a quick review of the other measures that we need. There are some metrics that we need to learn as far as the company's performance is concerned. So quick review about this. How do you construct the statement of cash flows? We need the income statement of the current year, the balance sheet of the current year, sorry, and the balance sheet of the previous year. So if we have those three financial statements, then we will be able to construct our statement of cash flows. Okay, we haven't constructed the statement of retained earnings. So this is for 2021. So we'll do that in the coming days. But first, let's measure, let's compute some metrics which are very important for us to bottom line natin class is to be able to compute for these metrics like economic value added, market value added, the return on invested capital. And these are metrics that we can find out. We can measure this if we know this basic measures first. So let's first do the net operating working capital. And we answered this last time, but I just would want us to review it. So the net operating working capital is simply your operating current assets minus operating current liabilities. And we said that operating current assets, we can find it in the balance sheet. Okay, so let me just the balance sheet. We have your current assets. The total current assets is 1,000 for 2021, and it's comprised of inventories, accounts receivable, short-term investments, and cash. What is not operating here is short-term investments, as we discussed before, because this is interest-bearing. So only cash, AR, and inventories form part of your operating current assets. So let's do that. Let's get the sum of your cash and cash equivalents, and then your AR and your inventories. Okay, so these are your operating current assets. Let me flash the formula. it's a sum of your cash, your accounts receivable, and your inventories. We can actually copy the same for 2020. Because we have the same cell position. Oops, sorry. Should be here. Okay, I transferred it to operating current assets. Now, for your operating current liabilities, okay, we'll also sum current liabilities are these items. Okay, accounts payable, accruals, and notes payable. Now, of these three, okay, one is not operating because it's interest bearing. So notes payable is not operating current liability, so we will exclude this and just add accounts payable and accruals. Okay, so I'm getting 200, and then I just copy this to the right. Okay, and get the difference. It's equal to this one, operating current assets minus operating current liabilities. Okay, so that's our first measure.
Sorry to interrupt po. Ano po ulit yung in-add sa current assets?
Current assets, okay. So you have your cash and cash equivalents. You have your accounts receivables and your inventories. What we did not add is your short-term investment. Okay. Thank you for that question.
Thank you po.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right. Any other questions, class? So please feel free to ask a question. We want you to be following us, class. All right. And then if you're able to get these answers, kindly chat, please. Give me a yes. If you're able to follow along. Yes, thank you. Thank you for the feedback, please. Thank you. I hope we have 100% feedback from the class. Okay, thank you. Let's wait for the others. I think only around 15%, 50% has indicated their answers. A few more seconds, please. We're waiting for, I think, around 10, 11, 12 students who have not yet answered that question. Yeah. About the rest, guys? I hope the others are following along. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, good. Thank you for the feedback, class. Okay, now let's go to total operating capital. Okay, so as the name suggests, okay, this one, the NOWC, it's just, by the way, sorry, I forgot to discuss that. Okay, because we have, what we measured is the operating working capital. Okay, there's another measure, and it does not distinguish between, no distinction between. Okay, so let me just prepare my digital pad. Okay, so we have current assets and current assets. We have working capital. Working capital is equal to current assets minus current liabilities. Okay, so that's just to distinguish between net operating working capital. Okay, because working capital, this is another measure, and it's equal to current assets minus current liabilities. On the other hand, net operating, okay, the operating now will distinguish between current assets and operating current assets minus operating current liabilities. Okay, so yung difference sila. Ito working capital, ito operating working capital. Okay, this is also called net working capital or working capital. Okay, so then we have your TOC, this one, total operating capital or total net operating capital, and it's just your previous measure, your NOWC. Okay, we have your NOWC plus your net plant and equipment. Take note, class, what we're adding is a net plant and equipment. Okay, so let's do that. We already have the figure for net operating working capital. So we just get it from this one. Okay, and then copy this to the right. And then our net plant and equipment, we have that in the balance sheet. Okay. So if you're given the plant and equipment at cost, you will have to get the net plant and equipment because the if you're given the at cost plant and equipment, property, plant and equipment, you will be also given the accumulated depreciation. And the difference between the plant and equipment at cost, ba? So, sulit din natin. So we have PPE, property, plant and equipment at cost. Sometimes it will be given this way, and then you have your less your accumulated depreciation. Okay, if that's given, then you have here PPE net. Okay, so make sure that you get this. Okay, to measure your TOC, you get your PPE net and not the PPE at cost. So for our data, for our balance sheet, no problem because what we're given to us is only the net. Okay, this one. 1,000, or that's 1 million actually kasi in thousands yung data natin. And then we copy to the right. So this is for 2020. So the sum of this, alt equal to, okay, we'll go isama yung 2021. Control enter. Okay, so once again, let me pause for a while. I'll give you a few seconds to follow along. And then in a while, I'll be asking your feedback if you were able to get to TOC. Okay, let's give your classmates a few more seconds. So far, only 3 have answered. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask your questions. Okay, let's around 10 more. Guys, thank you. Thank you, class, for your participation. Okay, just a few more. A few more seconds, and then we proceed. Let's give those who have not yet responded a few more seconds to follow. And in case you have any questions, please feel free. You can raise your hand, unmute yourself, okay, or chat. Let me check kung may nag-chat if there are any questions. Okay, wala naman. Okay, very good, very good. Class, thank you so much for participating. I really appreciate that. Okay, so for the management in 2021 was given operating working capital worth 796,000. And then in terms of the total, which includes your non-current assets, it was 1.79 million, okay, of operating capital, total operating capital. Okay, so we now ask how much was invested. Okay, sorry, this is kindly changed. I think you get the correct file. I think I'm getting the wrong file here. Okay, 2021 and 2020, to get the investment in total operating capital, we just subtract. So how much is the total operating capital in 2021 and how much is it in 2020? Okay, therefore, get the difference between the two. Okay. So why is this like this? All right. So a total of 279,000, or yeah, I think this is actually in millions, but I just made it in thousands. Okay, so that we millions pala, no? Did I give you millions? Actually, millions, but I think I changed. I made it into thousands. But it's okay, no problem. So this is 279.8. Okay, so this is how much was invested in 2021. Okay? Because at the beginning of the year, total operating capital amounted to 1516. And then at the end of the year, it became 1796.2. Okay, so how much, what's the percentage increase? So to get the percentage increase, you just get the current divided by the previous and then minus 1, right? Control Enter. So there was an 18.5% increase in operating capital, total operating capital. 18.5% increase in total operating capital. All right, now another one, this is a very important metric. Okay. So here, we'd like to compute for the NOPAT, net operating profit after tax. So in order to understand what's NOPAT, let's first take a look at NIAT, net income after tax. Okay, so we'll do a comparison between the two. So we'll start with earnings before interest and taxes. So right before the interest is deducted and then finally the tax. So our EBIT, we know it from our income statement. Okay, the income statement tells us that the earnings before interest and taxes is 283.8. There. And then the company incurred a interest expense of 88. Okay, so our earnings before tax is this one minus this one. Okay. And then how much was tax? Tax was 30%. So this times, did I give names here? Tax rate. Did we give a name to tax rate times? I think so. No? Check natin. Tax rate, yeah. Okay. Therefore, our net income after tax is just the difference between your EBT less your tax, 137.1, which is exactly the same as in the income statement, right? 137.1 here. Okay, again, pause. I'll pause and then I'll ask questions. Feedback, please, if we're able to get this. Actually, we just copied it from the income statement above. Feel free to unmute yourselves, class, if you have any questions, or you may chat it if your microphone is not working. Okay, so let's wait for the others. Wala pa tayong kalahati, no? Okay, let's wait. A while ago, we had a good number of respondents. Okay, a few more. 23, 24, very good. Question okay. May question dito. Sorry, I didn't. Class, pag mag-question kayo, please i-share nyo sa lahat, ha? So that the others will benefit. Okay. Dalawang question dyan. Percentage change yung total operating capital. Okay. So, ang percentage class is just, sulat ko dito para next time yung formula, alam mo. The current value, kasi pag sinabi yung percentage change, you're comparing between two values. No? So, to get that, the most current value divided by the previous value minus 1. Okay? So, current value divided by previous value minus 1. Okay. So, in this case, ang current value natin si 2021. Ang previous value si 2020. Okay, so following the formula, it's equal to the current value divided by the previous value minus 1. Okay. So if that answered your question, kindly unmute na lang pag sabing yes. Address yung question.
Okay po, sir. Thank you po.
Thank you. Very good, very good. Okay, I'm happy that you're asking questions. Okay. All right. So, ano ko na lang, get formula. Formula text. Okay. All right. So we know NIAT, no? We know net income after tax. We have done that before. Okay, sir, why is it on my end it becomes 0 and not percent? Okay. Siguro ganito. All right. Baka. Sige, let me do this. Best to saan ba yun? Saan siya? Wala. Okay. Okay, nasagot na. Yeah, yung format yan. No? Format, So, yung format, control 1 tayo. And then sa number format, if it's, kasi pag naka-ano siya, pag naka percentage siya o kaya naka number, no? Tapos, kunyari ganyan, no? 0 decimal. Okay, so magsisiro siya, no? But if the format is correct, so nasa formatting lang yan. So control 1 and then the percentage natin. And kahit 1 decimal place lang. Yan. Okay? So, that was a question a while ago. Nasagot din naman on her own. No? Okay, so let's now go to NOPAT. Anong difference ng NIAT sa NOPAT? Anong difference sa net income after tax sa net operating profit after tax? The difference is that kapag operating, remember, pag operating, okay, what we do is we ninegate o hindi natin kinoconsider yung interest. No? Bakit? Kasi interest expense, hindi yan kontrolado ng operations. Ang nagko-control niyan, so it's either, di ba, operations or yung finance, no? Financing. Ang nagko-control ng ng interest is financing. Okay, what if finance borrowed, no? Nag-loan. Of course, para sa company. And then the loan was not necessarily for operations, no? Para sa ibang din. And magre-reflect yung interest expense income statement. So, parang china-charge natin yung operations ng paggamit ng loan, no? So, mina-minus natin sa operating performance yung interest expense. Eh kapag i-assess natin yung performance of operations, it will become unfair, no? To them kasi wala naman silang control dun sa interest. So hence the measure called NOPAT, no? So we also start with dito na lang, no? Pareho lang naman yung EBIT, it's the same to 83.8. However, the interest expense we will not charge it to operations. Yan. So this is the difference. Kapag operating profit, hindi natin dinideduct yung financing charges, no? Like interest. So therefore, the EBT will now be the same as your EBIT, no? Kasi wala tayong charge na interest expense. And then our tax will be, tataas yung taxable base natin. This one times your tax rate. Tax rate natin is this one. Okay. Control Enter. 85.1. Notice now that the tax, as far as the NOPAT is concerned, will be higher. And then, ang net income or net profit after tax natin, net operating profit will be, okay, copy ko na lang to. There. Okay, so let's discuss this in a few minutes. Let me just once again ask your feedback if you were able to follow along and get the 198.7. Okay, let's wait for the others. The 8 has responded. Okay, a few more seconds, guys. About the rest, Hindi pa tayo nangalahati. The rest, guys? Okay, let's wait. Sige lang, take your time, guys, if you're analyzing what you're doing. But I would appreciate feedback from you if you were able to get it. And if you have any questions, please feel free. Raise your hands, unmute yourself, please. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, thank you for those who responded. Okay. May question dito, yung tax rate po ba yung nakuha natin kanina? 18.5%. Wait. Sorry. Sandrine, paki-share nga yung question mo. To everyone. Okay, there's a question here about the tax rate. If you recall, class, we gave a name to our tax rate. Pwede yung tingnan sa name box, no? Andito si tax rate. If you want to know how much the tax rate is, pwede nyo i-click dito, ano, yung sa name box, tax rate, and then it will bring us to, okay, I'm not sure if, question nga guys, did we give a name to our tax rate here in this file? Kasi I might be using a different file. Or did we use this? Itong 30% na to. I think we use this. Right, class? So the tax rate we're using is 30%, but I'm just not sure if we use this one or this one as our tax rate. Feedback, please, class. Class, did we give a name to the tax rate? Ay, hindi. Are you sure, class? Okay, if we did not, class, I'm sorry about that, but you can give this a name. Okay, alam nyo naman, di ba, magbigay ng name. Okay, kasi yung tax rate, andi dito, no? You can use this. And then type here sa name box tax. Either one word tax rate or tax underscore rate. Okay, I think we have discussed that giving names to cells. And sometimes it's better to do that. Okay, kasi mas madali natin ma-access. No? Okay, any concerns, guys, about the tax rate, the naming? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sandrine. Okay, so any questions about that? I'm sorry, class, kung hindi pala natin nabigyan ng pangalan last time. Okay, but you can do it now. You can either use, kasi number one, pwede tayo maghiwalay dito. No? Dito, ilalagay natin dito tax rate. And then take note here, ginamit ko tax, walang space, rate. And then, if you recall, pwede natin gawing pangalan to for 30%. Or you can use ito, or give it a name. Okay, I think I have learned how to do that, so I won't anymore explain that unless you have clarifications. Unless you need clarifications about that. Okay, clear na guys yung pag-name ng cell dun sa tax rate. I would appreciate you answering that question. Pag clear na, okay, just type yes, please. So I know, okay, thank you. I know if I need to discuss more yung giving name to a particular cell. Okay, so how much is the difference of net income after tax and net operating profit after tax? Of course, we know that NOPAT will be higher than NIAT. When will they be the same? Class, any volunteer? When will the net operating profit after tax and the net income after tax be equal? Kailan sila magiging equal, class? Kung hello? When will NOPAT and NIAT be the same? Okay, sino to? Kumukuha yung first name. Mr. Singson ke? Anong first name mo?
Sir Harry po.
Harry, okay. Sige Harry, could you kindly share your answer? Sabihin mo na lang.
They'll be the same po if NOPAT has interest included in it po.
Okay. Pero ang NOPAT, walang interest dapat yun, di ba? So we cannot put interest sa NOPAT. So when will they be the same? When will NOPAT and NIAT be the same? Harry? Modify mo lang yung answer mo ng konti.
If the interest from NIAT is removed po.
Yeah, if there's no interest, di ba? Tama? Harry?
Yes po.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Harry. And thank you also for the others. Yan. Francine, thank you. All right. So, NOPAT and NIAT will be the same if this is zero. Right? Kung wala to, kunyari, wala tayong interest expense. Of course, class, they will be the same. So, only in that instance, if there's no interest expense. But we cannot let this be zero if there's interest expense. We cannot say that if NOPAT is equal to zero, because really NOPAT, if the interest expense in NOPAT is equal to zero, ang magiging equal sila if there's no interest expense, so that your NIAT will have an interest of zero. Okay. All right. So I hope that's clear, class. And the difference between the two is that NOPAT will always be, okay, NOPAT will always be higher, assuming that there's interest expense. NOPAT will always be higher than net income after tax. And of course, from the perspective of operations, if they're going to be assessed or evaluated based on their performance, mas gusto nila to, itong NOPAT. Kasi they don't have any control over this. This is within the purview of finance. Okay, so hence we have this measure of NOPAT. Now, I thought that the interest will be the difference. 88. Diba? Kasi ang tinanggal natin sa NOPAT is 88. Now, why is it that it's only 61.6? What happened? What happened? I was expecting that the difference between NOPAT and NIAT is 88. Why did it become only 61.6? Why, class? Okay, we have an answer here. Okay, what about tax, Francine? What's the difference in their tax?
Sir, ano po, pag yung 88 po, tinimes niyo siya sa 30% tax.
Okay.
Yung makukuha niyo po is yung parang kulang para maging, kulang dun sa 61.6
Okay,
para
so
maging 88 po siya.
okay, galing dito sa tax, sabi mo, no? Yan. 26.4. Right? So may discrepancy ng 26.4. Yung 88 na interest, okay, hindi siya nakita dito sa 88. Dito yung difference ng NIAT at saka ng PAT. Why? Nabawasan siya. Bakit? Ano to, class? Ano yung 26.4 na to? That is the tax savings that the company generated for the use of debt. Umutang sila, nagka-interest sila ng 88. Ano nangyari? Nagkaroon ng tax savings sa tax savings, no? 50. Ang tax savings natin, comparing sa umutang at saka sa hindi umutang, ang tax savings is 26.4. Okay? That's why yung net natin na difference sa NOPAT at saka sa NIAT is 88 minus 20 minus 24, 26.4, giving us 61.6. Okay? But this is very important. Notice the tax now, since we have interest, the tax is lower. Kaya ang sinasabi nila, okay, si financing, si debt, si utang, okay, provides a company what we call leverage factor. What do you mean by leverage? Napapaangat niya yung profit. Okay? Napapaangat niya yung profit in the sense that binabawasan niya yung taxable income ng company. And therefore, mababawasan yung tax. So nagkakaroon ng tax savings because of the use of debt. Okay? Kasi yung debt, it will generate interest expense. Yung interest expense deductible as far as tax purposes is concerned. No? So you can see here that ang lesson sa atin ito, yung NOPAT at saka yung NIAT, magkaiba sila. And usually your NOPAT will be high, assuming that there's interest. NOPAT will always be higher than your NIAT. So tingnan natin to. Let's we can use this formula to compute for your NOPAT. Kasi dito, inisa-isa pa natin. No? And take a look at this. EBIT times, binawas natin yung tax. So that's EBIT times 1 minus tax rate. This is the tax. Yun lang naman ang minus natin, di ba? Kasi hindi tayo nagbawas ng interest. So, NOPAT natin for 2021. So here we're computing NOPAT for 2021 and 2020. So let's start with EBIT. I have to get it here. EBIT natin is this one. Copy to the right for 2020. And tax rate is natin to times ay, mali. Dapat yung formula 1 minus so we're following the formula. EBIT times 1 minus tax rate. This one we can copy. Okay, 70%, no? Ibig sabihin 30% mapupunta sa tax. Therefore, ang NOPAT natin will be, diba, ang formula, EBIT times 1 minus tax rate. So, EBIT times 1 minus tax rate. Okay, so this was for 2021, yun, 198.7. And then for 2020, na no pat, it's 184.1. Okay, once again, pause muna ko and allow you to catch up. Chat, please, if you're okay so far. If you're able to follow along. We were able to compute for the, siguro dapat ito i-move ko dito. Kasi para nakakalito siya na. Okay, let's wait for the others. Kamusta class? Isa pa lang? Dalawa? Feedback please, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free. Okay. All right. Okay, so wala naman message sa group chat. Okay, thank you for your responses, class. Okay, so let's continue. So we were able to compute already your net operating profit after tax. This is a very important measure. We're going to use that. Okay, next, free cash flow. The next measure that we're going to compute is free cash flow. So what's free cash flow? Ano ba yung free cash flow? So free cash flow is the amount of cash flow that can be distributed to investors after operating cash flow requirements. Haba na yata ito. Okay, lagay ko na lang sa ano. Insert ko sa text box. Okay, so define lang natin free cash flow. Hindi pa nasama to. Okay, so free cash flow is the amount of cash flow that can be distributed to investors after operating cash flow requirements have been deducted. Okay, so nabawas na yung mga cash flow requirements for operations. Then kung ano man yung natitira, which can be distributed to investors, that's what we call your free cash flow. Okay, amount of cash flow that that may be distributed to investors after operating cash flow requirements have been deducted. Okay, therefore, ano itong mga example na ito ng free cash flow? Number one, pwede siyang gamitin for interest payments. No? Number two, ano pa? So these are examples. Kasi, nga pala, class, what do we mean by investors? Sino ba mga investors? Pag sinabi natin sino yung investors, sino sila? Anyone? Sino yung mga investors? Okay, let's see. All right. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you got it. Thank you, Francine. Thank you, Isabel. You're correct. So, ang investors can be your creditors. Yung mga nagpapautang. And primarily, it's the shareholders. Okay. So, going back to our definition of free cash flow, it's the cash flow that can be distributed to investors. So, pag sinabi ko investors, ito, yung dalawang to, no? Ito. After, kaso may operative word, after operating cash flow requirements have been deducted. Okay? So, kailangan yung company magpo-provide mo ng cash flow requirements for operations. And then, after that, pwede nang i-allocate sa creditors at saka sa shareholders. And that's what we call free cash flow. So for creditors, interest payments, di ba? Interest payments and also payment of principal. Yan. So galing yan sa free cash flow, yung interest payments, payment of principal, and then sa ano naman, sa shareholders, ano siya? Dividend payments. Okay? Sa perspective to ng shareholder. And number 4, pwede dito yung buyback. No? Buyback shares of stocks or what we call the treasury stock. Okay, pwede yung company, bilhin niya, no? buy back from the market yung shares of stock. So pag binibili niya yung shares of stocks niya ulit, ang tawag yan, treasury stocks. Okay, so far, ito yung 4 na uses of free cash flow. Interest payments. Kasi remember, this is after operating cash flow requirements have been deducted. Then payment of principal, then payment ng dividends, and then or buying back shares of stock. And number 5, ano pa? Anyone, class? Ito yung mga ito yung mga cash flow for non-operating, no? Assets. So pwede kasi magka non-operating assets. So kasama yan dun sa free cash flow. Okay. Again, let me pause. Let me pause for a while and let's see if you've got this 5 to interest payments, principal payments, dividend payments, treasury stock, or mga for non-operating assets. Ito yung free cash flow natin. Any questions, class? Okay, na? Okay, good. All right. So how do we compute for the free cash flow? Okay. To compute for the free cash flow, we need NOPAT. From the NOPAT, ima-minus natin yung net investment in operating capital. Okay. So let's start with NOPAT dito. Hindi, NOPAT, di ba, hindi natin tinagal yung interest. Kasi doon nga, ibabawas yun coming from the free cash flow. No? So 198.7, yung NOPAT, 137.1. Ay, wait. Tama ba? For 2021, the NOPAT is 198.7. Kasi yung 137.1, niyat yan. So 198.7, and then ibabawas natin yung investment in TOC. Kasi mga operating to eh. So ito yung TOC natin, 179.8. So going back to our model, okay, ang NOPAT natin is okay. So, wait ha. Yan lang ako. NOPAT natin for 2021 is this one, 198.7. And then how much was our investment in TOC? Kasi di ba sabi natin by definition, si NOPAT, si free cash flow, dapat natanggal na yung yung operating cash flow requirements, diba? So for 2021, ang kailangan natin na investment for total operating capital is 279.8. So tatanggalin dapat natin yan, no? Therefore, yung matitira dyan, so this is equal to this minus this. Alright, sige, check na muna yung work nyo, class, kung tama ba. I'm getting a negative free cash flow, no? 81.1. Okay, did you get negative 81.1? So I will wait again for your chat, guys. If you got the same figure, negative 81.1. Okay, good. Good. Thank you. Thank you for your feedback. Now, ang tanong natin, yung negative free cash flow. Okay ba si negative free cash flow? O dapat ang free cash flow ba dapat lagi positive? Okay, technically, by definition, syempre, maganda kung positive yung free cash flow. Bakit? Kasi merong pang magagamit yung company for this one. Diba? Yun ang gamit ng free cash flow. Now, sorry. Why does a company have negative free cash flow? Anong dahilan? Okay, dalawa lang naman yan, di ba? Either yung NOPAT or yung net investment operating capital. Okay, so in the first place, kung yung NOPAT, kunyari EBIT natin negative na, therefore yung NOPAT mo magiging negative. So if the operating performance of the firm through the EBIT, earnings before interest and taxes, kita natin na yung sales pangit, yung expenses masyado silang mahal, etc., then you might have a situation where your EBIT is negative. Okay, or EBIT is very low, tapos yung yung EBIT is negative. So pag ang EBIT negative, definitely yung NOPAT mo negative na. So pag NOPAT mo negative, magiging negative na yung free cash flow mo. So as to the question, is a negative free cash flow bad for the company? The answer is it depends. So hindi yan yes kagad. It depends what was causing the negative free cash flow. Okay? Kasi di ba sabi natin dalawa yung source yung NOPAT at investment in TOC. Let's suppose a NOPAT was okay. In this case, positive naman yung NOPAT natin, 198.7. Diba? All right. Now, ang question, okay naman tong NOPAT. Kung okay to, ba't magiging negative yung free cash flow? Kasi mataas yung investment in TOC. 279.8. Ang NOPAT lang natin, 198.7. So, ibig sabihin, hindi sufficient yung NOPAT natin for this net investment in TOC. So, kaya naging negative yung free cash flow natin. So, in this instance, yung negative free cash flow natin is not necessarily bad. Bakit? Kasi kailangan talaga ng company mag-invest sa total operating capital. Kailangan ng company mag-invest sa inventories, sa receivables, sa raw materials, okay? Sa equipment. Kailangan yun. Okay, so the investment in TOC was 279.8. The NOPAT was 198.7. So assume natin na okay naman yung NOPAT natin, 198.7 million. Only that the company really invested much in operating capital. Ito. So that was the cause for the negative free cash flow. And if that's the cause for the negative free cash flow, then okay yung pagiging negative na free cash flow. Okay yun. Kasi may dahilan. No? There was a reason why it became negative. The company really invested in operating capital. Okay? So, for that matter, lagi bang yung positive free cash flow, lagi bang okay yun? In the same regard, guys, not always. Not always. Kasi, baka positive yung NOPAT, pero yung investment natin in TOC is very small. So, pag ganun, tataas yung free cash flow natin, magiging positive. But, okay, we said, total operating capital is very important because that will fuel the revenues of the company. Diba? Yun ang operations eh. Eh kung hindi ka mag-i-invest, hindi tayo nagdadagdag ng inventories. Kaya hindi nag-i-invest sa property, plant, and equipment. So magsasuffer yung operations. Okay? So always take this, yung free cash flow, with a grain of salt. Not all negative free cash flow are bad, and neither are all positive free cash flow good. Okay? So we have to dig deeper. We have to look at these two details. No? Of course, two details lang to, pero may pinanggagalingan yan. Di ba? Sinopat, saan ba nanggagalingan? Sa income statement yan. So it might require a deeper analysis kung okay ba si positive free cash flow or negative free cash flow. But in general, class, pag sinabi natin positive free cash flow, okay yun. Pag negative free cash flow, in general, it might mean bad. Kasi nga, it might be coming from a negative NOPAT. Okay? In general yun but sabi natin, we don't stop there. We have to look at the reason for why it was negative, or even reason kung bakit siya naging positive. Okay? All right, pause muna ulit ako for a while, and then would like to get feedback from everyone kung okay so far yung concept ng free cash flow, whether it's positive or negative. Okay, this is the cash flow available for distribution to investors, okay, after deducting cash flow requirements for operations. Okay, others, please. Okay, thank you. Okay, mukhang okay naman, no? Alright. Unless may question ba dito sa chat box natin? Ay, okay, wala namang question. Good. Alright. Now, we go to these measures, no? Itong ROIC, itong MVA, itong EVA. These are very important measures for us. Itong tatlong to. Return on invested capital, okay, market value added, and economic value added. Okay, medyo iba to kaysa dun sa formula natin for ROA, return on assets, return on equity. This is return on invested capital. And we have the formula here. So yung formula natin is NOPAT divided by TOC, okay, at the beginning. Now, kwento ko lang muna kung bakit ganyan yung formula, no? Para medyo may idea tayo yung rationale behind that. Kasi it's important for us not only to look at the formula, but also to understand where the formula is coming from. Okay. So nagsimula January 1, no? January 1. Okay. The company was provided total operating capital. So January 1 pa lang, plus, may TOC na tayo. Diba? Ito yung TOC, total operating capital, at the end of the previous year. And how much was total operating capital at the beginning? See? Total operating capital at the beginning is, okay, here, 1516.4. Okay, end ng 2020 yan, which is beginning of 2021. 1516.4. So let's write that here. So sa simula pa lang, meron na tayong, it's not as if walang operating capital yung management. No? They were provided with 1516.4. Okay? So that was the amount of total operating capital that was provided to management. Ang tanong, anong na-generate nila niyan? Sa buong taon ng 2021, so at the end of December 31, anong na-generate ng management? They were able to generate what? Okay, we're going to use NOPAT, no? Kasi sabi nga natin, unfair na gamitin natin yung NIAT to evaluate, to assess management. Kasi yung NIAT, it contains interest. Yung interest, wala namang control ang operations yan. So that's why we're using NOPAT. So how much was the operating profit generated by management? 198.7. Susulat natin. Okay. 198.7. Okay, for the whole year. So binigyan tayo ng 1516, assuming tayo na management. Sa simula ng taon, binigyan tayo ng 1516. In fact, dinagdagan pa nga yan, di ba? 298 something. But nevertheless, we'll just base it on this one, no? Yung sa simula. Kasi baka yung ibang operating assets ang dinagdag, baka almost end of the year na. Okay? So we'll just stick to this. Na binigyan yung company at the start of the year 1516.4. Anong ginawa nila dun sa ano yun, sa funds na yun? Nag-generate sila ng 198.7. Okay? They were able to generate this 198.7 given this operating capital of 1516.4. Therefore, yung measure na yan, yung ROIC, return on invested capital, is what? Magkano yung profit na na-generate divided by magkano yung operating capital na binigay. 1516.4. This is now your return on invested capital. Yung invested capital, that was your total operating capital. Okay, so let's follow the formula. So our NOPAT is, kunin na lang natin dito sa taas, NOPAT ito, no? And then our TOC beginning, no? Beginning TOC. Ito, no? 1516.4, not the ending. Oops, hindi ko na equal ah. TOC beginning capital is 1516.4. All right. Therefore, our return on invested capital is equal to 198.7 million divided by 1516 million. Yan. It's 13.10. Okay, pause again. Let me pause for a while and check kung you were able to follow and generate 13.10. Maka-chat please. 13.10 as your ROIC. Let's wait for the rest of the class to answer also.
Sir,
Yes, Francine?
question po.
Yes.
TOC beginning capital po, ano po siya? Yung 2020 yung gagamitin?
TOC beginning capital. Okay. Asa yung TOC natin? Diba ito yung TOC for 2020. Tama?
Apo.
Ending ng 2020 is the beginning of 2021. Right?
Okay po.
Itong TOC na to, end na to ng 2021. So, asan yung beginning? The beginning is the ending of 2020. No? Okay?
Okay po. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, Francine, for that question. Okay, ano pa? Any other question? Clarifications, class? Wala pa nag-chat kung nakuha niya yung 13%. I'm waiting for your chat, guys. Kung yung 13.10 nakuha nyo, and yung kwento ko nga, class, we're using the TOC beginning. Kasi ang assumption natin sa simula pa lang, andyan yung asset na yan. So that's the, andyan yung capital na to, no? Yung operating capital na to. This is the amount of operating capital management is provided with. So gagamitin nila to. In fact, yung iba ginagawa, class, kinukuha yung average ng beginning at saka ending. Okay, so which I think also is a good way to do it. Kasi yung nadagdag na, may nadagdag na operating capital, di ba? Which is 298, tama ba yan? Ito, yan, 279.8. Nadagdag yan. Ang question kasi, kailan siya binigay? So, do we assume that it was given at the end? Hindi rin naman pwede, di ba? Kaya that's why ang ibang ginagawa, they average yung beginning at saka yung ending. The beginning of 2021 is the ending of 2020. Okay, so let me see. All right, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, question. Question, class. Did the company, kasi ang question ito, no? Is management able to create value for shareholders? Kasi either the company will create value or destroy value. Remember, ang objective ng isang firm should be to maximize shareholder value. So ang tanong, was the company able to create value or to destroy value? What do you think, class? Was value created or was value destroyed? With 13.10. Okay, let's see. Casey, bakit mo sinabing create? And then I'll also ask Francine. Why? What was your basis for that?
Yun na pong ROIC, sir, yung tinignan ko. Kasi po,
Okay.
13.10% siya.
Yeah, oo. 13.10. Pero what made you decide na nag-create ng value? Ano yung naisip mo? 13.10?
Saglit lang po. Actually, ang naisip ko lang po, sir, dahil greater than 0 siya. So, naisip ko, nag-create. Pero, saan
Okay
po
lang.
ba siya dapat i-compare?
Yun ang tinatanong natin, no? Pero you arrived at that answer. Nag-create ng value. Okay, sige. Thank you. How about Francine? Ano yung naging basis mo for saying nag-create ng value?
Sir, same lang po. Kasi po may
Kasi
ano,
parang feeling mo mataas ganun.
okay.
Okay, sige. Thank you to the both of you, no? Okay. What's good with finance is may basis tayo, no? So yung 13.10, hindi arbitrary yan na sasabihin natin nag-create ng value or nag-destroy ng value. Okay, remember guys, I mentioned to you this. Okay, walang question, no? I mentioned this metric to you before. Okay, itong weighted average cost of capital. Okay? So this is a very important metric kasi ginagamit yan para, for example, when a company is doing capital budgeting, when you say capital budgeting, nagde-determine siya kung ano. Okay, so there you go. Thank you, Casey. Yes, that's the answer here. So you will have to compare your ROIC with your weighted average cost of capital. Okay, and nabigay ko ba sa taas dito? Okay, hindi ko nabigay sa taas dito, pero nabigay ko dito. Here, in the next sentence, nabigay dito that ito kulang to, no? Gawin yung pakigawa nga tong WACC, no? Or the weighted average cost of capital was 8%. Okay? All right. Given, sorry, sa next ano pa nabigay, no? Given that the weighted average cost of capital was 8%, and then your ROIC is 13.10%. So, ang answer dito, management was able to create value. Why? ROIC is greater than weighted average cost of capital. There. So, management was able to create value for the shareholders. Nag-create siya ng value. And the reason is the computed ROIC, 13.10, is greater than our weighted average cost of capital. Okay? So yung weighted average cost of capital class, of course, kino-compute yan. Management, particularly finance, is responsible to determine whether what is the weighted average cost of capital. Okay, so that's the answer there. No? The management was able to create value and not destroy value since the ROIC was is greater than the weighted average cost of capital. Okay, so let's stop there kasi time na. Stop recording ko na muna to. Oops, wait. Nangyari. So then stop recording. Okay, anyway. So, all right. So we'll continue with this next meeting. May dalawa pa tayo, no? And then we will continue. Tatlo pa pala to, no? Dalawa. MVA, EVA solved in 2 ways. Okay. So any questions, class? Okay. Yes, Francine.
Regarding po dun sa task na binigay niyo po nung last meeting.
Yung sa cash flow, no?
Opo.
Oo, I'm going,
Post yun na po.
mamaya ako ipopost kasi
Sige.
yung nakita kong mga cash flow na medyo mahirap, sabi ko, baka masyado mahirapan. So, I'll make it a little more simple na lang. Okay, thank you for reminding me, Francis. Okay, all right, class, if there are no questions, let's call it a day. Keep safe, please, and have a blessed week ahead. See you on Thursday.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Bye
sir.
po.
Thank you. Bye,
Thank you,
guys.
sir.
Thank you. Keep
Thank
safe,
you, sir.
everyone. Thank you.
Sir,
Yes.
I have a question po.
Yeah,
Will you
sure.
post the updated PPT, the one with the answers and notes po?
Yung ngayon?
Opo, the
Sige,
updated
sige.
one.
Okay, sige. Sige, I'll do that. Sige.
Thank you so much po. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.